In a world scarred by the tragedies of World War I and World War II, it's hard to imagine a reality untouched by these global conflicts. Hello, history enthusiasts and curious minds. Today, we're embarking on a unique journey through time. Imagine a world where the catastrophic world wars never happened. Picture the global landscape, the nations, the people. How would they differ from the world we know today? Alternate history isn't just fiction or fantasy. It's a way to understand the profound impacts of historical events. It challenges us to think critically about the what-ifs and recognize the delicate threads that shape our reality. Today, we're not just exploring history as it happened. We're diving into a hypothetical scenario, a world devoid of the turmoil and devastation brought by World War I and II. What could have been the geopolitical outcomes, the economic landscapes, the cultural evolutions, and the scientific advancements? Join us as we unravel this intriguing tapestry of possibilities. We'll delve into how the absence of these world-altering conflicts could have reshaped everything, from the borders on our maps to the technology in our hands. It's not just a journey through history, it's an exploration of a world that could have been. So, are you ready to rewrite history with us? Let's dive into a world without World War I and World War II and uncover the potential impacts on our lives and our planet. The historical context. To understand a world without the world wars, we first need to grasp the enormity of these conflicts. Let's take a quick dive into the past. World War I, often called the Great War, erupted in 1914, reshaping the globe. It was a war unlike any before, with new technologies and a scale of destruction that was unprecedented. Triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the war quickly escalated due to tangled alliances and imperial ambitions. Over 4 years, it consumed Europe and beyond, claiming millions of lives. Just 2 decades later, the world plunged into chaos again with World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. Fueled by fascism and territorial conquests, it saw horrors like the Holocaust and the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It ended in 1945, but its impact resonated through generations. These wars reshaped nations, borders, and the global order. They spurred unprecedented technological advancements and left deep scars that still shape our world. But what if these monumental conflicts never occurred? What if the world's nations chose different paths? Would we live in a utopia, or would other challenges have emerged? As we step into this alternate timeline, we'll explore how avoiding these global catastrophes might have altered the course of history, technology, culture, and global politics. Geopolitical and economic changes. Imagine a tapestry of nations, unscarred by the ravages of the world wars. The landscape of empires and alliances would be starkly different. Without World War I, the great empires of Europe might have continued their reign. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and perhaps even the Russian Empire could have seen prolonged lifespans. This alternate world would feature a complex web of empires, each vying for power yet potentially avoiding the total war that once reshaped our globe. Economically, the absence of war-driven destruction and depression paints a different picture. The early 20th century could have been a time of continued industrial expansion and innovation. Imagine a booming 1920s without the shadow of the Great Depression, an era of prosperity propelled by uninterrupted technological and industrial growth. But it's not all rosy. Without the pressures of war, would the push for technological innovation be as strong? Would the pace of progress be the same? Internationally, the landscape of alliances and treaties would be unrecognizable. The League of Nations, the United Nations, these might never have been formed, or they might exist in a completely different capacity. In this alternate reality, nations may have found other reasons to collaborate or conflict, shaping a very different but equally complex world stage. As we delve into the societal and cultural impacts next, remember, this journey through an alternate history is not just about what might have been, but also about understanding the delicate balance of our world. Societal and cultural impacts. Art and culture are often reflections of the times. Without the shadow of war, the 20th century could have witnessed a very different cultural evolution. Imagine the artistic movements that might have flourished in a world free from the turmoil of the world wars. Without the anguish and loss that fueled expressionist and surrealist art, what other forms of creativity could have taken center stage? Perhaps more optimistic and serene art forms would dominate, reflecting a world not marred by global conflict. Or maybe entirely new genres, ones we can barely conceive of, would emerge. Now, let's turn our attention to geopolitics. The era of decolonization might have taken a very different path without the impact of the world wars. Without the weakening of European powers and the global shift in political ideologies post-World War, empires might have clung to their colonies longer, or perhaps decolonization would have occurred in a more gradual and less tumultuous manner. Diplomatic relations, too, would be fundamentally altered. The world wars were catalysts for international cooperation and conflict resolution platforms like the United Nations. In our war-free world, the need for such global organizations might not have arisen as urgently. Would nations be more or less cooperative, more isolationist, or more open to international dialogue? The answers aren't straightforward. As our experts suggest, this alternate history presents a complex tapestry of potentialities, where every aspect of society and culture is intertwined and influenced by the absence of these defining conflicts. Technological and scientific progress. The world wars were catalysts for rapid technological innovation, but in a world without these wars, would we have seen the same pace of advancement or a completely different trajectory? Let's start with warfare technology. Without the urgency of war, the development of things like radar, jet engines, and even nuclear technology might have taken a back seat. Or perhaps, these technologies would have emerged differently, driven by civilian needs rather than military demands. Imagine a world where nuclear energy was first harnessed for power, not for bombs. The space race, as we know it, was fueled by Cold War tensions. But without the world wars, this rivalry might never have existed. In our alternate history, the journey to space could be a more unified global effort, marked by collaboration instead of competition. The moon landing, satellite technology, maybe even Mars missions could have different stories. But it's not just about what technologies would emerge. It's also about when and how. Without the wars, would we be more or less advanced today? This is a debate that intrigues historians and scientists alike. Some argue that the absence of war might have slowed technological progress, while others believe that peace could foster a more sustainable and ethical approach to innovation. And what of the Cold War? In a world without the world wars, the geopolitical tensions that fueled this period might be entirely different, leading to alternative global power dynamics. The Holocaust and global conflicts. The human cost of the world wars is immeasurable. The Holocaust alone stands as one of the darkest chapters in human history. But in a world where these conflicts never happened, this tragic story might have been unwritten. Today, we reflect on what could have been, the lives saved, the cultures preserved, the communities that could have thrived. The Holocaust and other atrocities of the world wars serve as stark reminders of the depths of human cruelty and the resilience of the human spirit. Preventing these horrors would not only save millions of lives, but could also fundamentally change global attitudes towards racism, anti-Semitism, and genocide. Yet, the absence of world wars doesn't necessarily mean a world without conflict. Other global tensions and rivalries might have come to the forefront. Without the world wars to reshape national boundaries and global power structures, we might see different conflicts arising over territories, resources, or ideological differences. Experts suggest various scenarios. Some believe that without the lessons of the world wars, the world might have been less equipped to handle international disputes, potentially leading to alternate conflicts. However, there's also a hopeful perspective. The shared human experience of avoiding such massive global conflicts might have fostered stronger international cooperation and a more united approach to resolving disputes. As we ponder these what-ifs, it's crucial to remember the lessons of our past and the value of peace. A new world order. The world wars were pivotal in shaping the modern geopolitical landscape. But in a world where they never happened, the map of global power could look drastically different. Without the world wars, the rise and fall of certain superpowers would likely have taken a different course. Traditional empires might have retained their power longer, or new powers could have emerged in unexpected places. The United States and Soviet Union rose to prominence post-World War II. In our alternate timeline, would they still dominate? Or would we see a more multipolar world with different rivalries and alliances? This alternate political landscape brings up intriguing questions about ideological conflicts, economic competition, and military alliances. Would the Cold War have even occurred? Or would other rivalries define the 20th century? Now, let's turn our attention to the Middle East, a region deeply impacted by the world wars and their aftermath. Without the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire, the national borders in the Middle East might be unrecognizable to us today. This could have profound implications for regional politics, conflicts, and the global energy landscape. And what about the potential for a more peaceful world? Without the devastating experiences of the world wars, would nations be more inclined towards peaceful resolutions, or would other conflicts take their place? Some historians argue that the world wars, despite their horrors, taught invaluable lessons about the cost of conflict and the need for international cooperation. As we've explored, the absence of World War I and II could have led to a vastly different world order, with altered borders, unexpected superpowers, and perhaps even a different approach to conflict resolution. It's a fascinating journey through the what-ifs of history, reminding us of the complex tapestry of events that shape our world. Our journey through this alternate history has taken us across a world untouched by the cataclysms of the world wars. Today, we've explored the vast implications of a history rewritten. From the geopolitical landscapes reshaped without the wars, to the cultural and technological paths potentially untraveled, our exploration has revealed just how deeply these global conflicts have carved their marks on the fabric of our world. We speculated on the state of empires, the economic prosperity in a war-free world, the cultural movements that might have flourished, and the alternate routes of technological and scientific progress. We pondered the fate of nations like those in the Middle East, the emergence of different superpowers, and the potential for a more peaceful world or alternative conflicts. But this journey is more than just an exercise in imagination. It's a reminder of the importance of understanding our history, the triumphs and tragedies, to truly appreciate the present and shape our future. The world we live in today is the product of countless decisions, events, and sacrifices. By exploring these alternate paths, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity of history and the resilience of humanity. As we close this chapter of What Ifs, let's carry forward the lessons learned and the perspectives gained. Our history, with all its imperfections, has shaped the world we know. It's up to us to remember, reflect, and envision a better future. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey through an alternate past. Remember, history is not just about understanding where we've been. It's about inspiring where we go next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.